Hey guys, it's Justin and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, let's talk about how you can deal with bad guests as for Airbnb. And so let's get right into it. Before we get into it, I want to talk about the sponsor of this video, Aura. If you're like me and love saving money, you probably shared your Netflix password with your friends and family, and statistically, the average consumer has 90 accounts. It's most likely that you don't have 90 different passwords to go with each one. So if someone has one of your passwords, they probably have access to your other accounts. This can make you and your accounts extremely vulnerable to things like identity theft and fraud. And if you think that won't happen to you, just know that American consumers lost $56 billion from identity theft in 2020. And that's a lot of money. This is why I've partnered with the sponsor of this video, Aura. Aura is an identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management, and antivirus software all combined in one easy to use app that monitors the dark web for your emails, passwords, your social security number, and quickly sends alerts right to your phone and email. I've dealt with fraud and I know with fraud, every second matters. I love Aura because it can connect my credit and bank accounts and notify me of any changes up to 4 times faster than Aura's other competitors. Aura's VPN allows me to stay anonymous online by keeping my browser history and personal info safe and encrypted. And the best part is that Aura's antivirus software will block malware and viruses before they infect devices. Aura found my personal information on the dark web 5 times in the past 2 weeks. So stay safe and start your 2-week free trial today at aura.com/justlean. Once you sign up, don't forget to comment down below how many times your personal info was found. Back to the video. For those of you who don't know me yet, or you just found me on YouTube search, me and my girlfriend have started Airbnb last year, and now as of 2022, we run and manage 5 Airbnbs, and by the next of 2023, we plan on having 30 more Airbnbs. In the Airbnb platform, I'm pretty knowledgeable about what goes on in the back end and in the front end and all the other updates that happen with Airbnb. So let's go ahead and talk about how I can help you guys deal with bad guests on Airbnb. With any service business out there, there's one thing that everyone hates, which is going to be bad guests. But in Airbnb, it is part of the business. You're going to have to know when a guest is bad and what person is good and what person is an excellent guest for your stay. These are things that you'll start to learn as you start getting bad guests and you start pre-approving these guests for the future. And so knowing your bad guests is really important, but it's going to be part of the business. And you're going to have to know how to handle this professionally and with hospitality. Remember, your customers are king. And I say this in the terms of customers are your best friends, are the ones that are going to bring you revenue. But sometimes they may be wrong. And those are going to be your bad customers that you need to know and be able to find out before they stay in your place. So let's talk about how you can start managing to make sure you don't get any bad guests for the future. And so the number one tip that you're going to have is outline house rules. These are really important because one, if you don't have house rules, they don't have rules for themselves. And so they're gonna do whatever they want with your place. And making sure you outline house rules can prevent and minimize conflict. And this will help guests understand expectations for what you put into your place. If there is no rules in place, they probably don't think you care about your Airbnb that much. And so they won't care about your Airbnb at all. So make sure you know what they are and what they know, and make sure they know that they are going to keep house rules, and keep it simple and understanding. Don't make it so complicated like making an agreement form. Guests don't want to read through all that. Just make the biggest things important and go along with it. If it's some of the small nitpicking things, you don't even have to add those things. Put the major things that you want your guests to know, and those are going to give those guidelines for your guests staying to make sure they are on those rules and to keep your place like theirs. So making sure you outline rules are going to be really important for guests, and making sure that your guest understands these rules that you set in place for them. All right, now that we talked about rules, let's talk about number 2, which is going to be address them quickly. Sometimes things will happen, like your cleaners will come in and they didn't do a professional job, or they let something on, they left a couple trash. Who knows what happened, right? But in the part of Airbnb, there's going to be issues that arise. Either it could be small or big, or really big where the roof starts to fall apart. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen, or there's water damage that happens from the roof. These things happen because they're homes, and things happen in homes. So make sure you address them quickly. Have high priority, because your guests are guests that are very important to you, and these guests are going to look for you when things happen and these things arise. So making sure that you have high priority of these problems are going to be important. Making sure you respond quickly and attentively. It could be your property management company that takes care of this, but if there's a big problem like this and you have notifications set on Airbnb, it's really important that you respond to these and address them as quickly as possible and have a call with them. Sometimes people need a call because when you text, they text very furiously and they want an explanation to the problem. So if you give them a call and have them explain the issues, that resolves a lot of issues. So making sure that you have quick and making your guests think that they have high priority is going to be your best bet to make sure they don't give you a bad rating at the end of their stay. Now that we talked about addressing the house rules and getting the resolution as quickly as possible, let's go on number 3, which is going to be a problem solver. This is something that's very important to a lot of people who are going to be hosts on Airbnb. You need to be a problem solver. You cannot sit there and blame your guests for everything and not have a resolution for your guests. Guests are looking for you for resolution. So if you stand there and sit there and be like, well, the problem arose, well, we'll get it done after your stay, they're not gonna like that. You need to be a problem solver because they are staying and they are paying to stay at your place. Stay calm, stay cool, and be collective on your thoughts and see what solutions you can offer to your guests without having to pay them any certain amount. Give them a choice from what you think that could be a good option to them, or show them that you care and give them a couple options depending on what the severity of the situation can be. But always being a problem solver is going to be very important because in any customer service business, you know that being a problem solver is the best for your customers. So making sure that they know that you can solve their problems as quickly as possible and giving them a solution to the problems is going to be the best bet to make sure that your rating still goes up and you keep a good and healthy relationship with your Airbnb. All right, now that we talked about that, let's go on the 4th way that you can deal with bad guests, which is going to be never blame and judge. This is one where it's on the fine line of I understand when there is a problem that arises, you don't want to deal with it. And sometimes when we don't want to deal with it, we usually blame other people for the issues. But sometimes it's important to keep an open mind on situations that happen. Be in the shoes of the guest. See and try and understand their position and why they're acting like this. If they had a bad check-in, or if you did not send out clear rules or instructions on checking in, then see how furiated they might be at staying at your Airbnb, right? So there's things that might have been off on the communication aspect of them getting into your Airbnb, and which is why they might be mad at you and are demanding a couple of things from you. But understand and don't blame them for the issues that caused by what you were reckless with. So make sure, go back, see what the problem of your Airbnb is. And remember, guests are going to be as truthful as possible. They're going to be your saving grace or can be your down spiral of failure. So making sure that your customers' feedback is very important and you can change a couple things as you go on to the future and make things better. But making sure that you understand how you can help them and help better your Airbnb so there is no more problems that arise like this is going to be your best bet. And never judge or blame your guests for what has happened. Because one, they are paying customers. You wouldn't just flip a paying customer off just because something has arisen because of your issue. You're going to resolve the issue because that is your job to make sure your guest stays nice and comfortable and what they've paid for. Now that we talked about all of this, let's talk about the last and final one, which is going to be your most important when you're looking for guidance, which is going to be Airbnb Support. If you are a Superhost, especially, this is going to be your best bet because they have best advice. But even if you're not a Superhost, Airbnb Support is there for you, and they are going to help you throughout your journey of having a guest and being a host, and in the fine lines of who is right and who is wrong. They, at the end of the day, control Airbnb, and they're going to help you guys out. So when in doubt, if you have any issues that arise, call Airbnb immediately and see what the options are. They are like your customer service agent or your mentors for Airbnb. They're going to give you great support and great advice on things that you may have not even known and what would happen if an issue did arise. And there are times where I have no clue on what's going to happen with me, so I call Airbnb Support to see what they can give me help on. So Airbnb Support is going to be your best bet if you have something that has arisen that is very big or some little small minor things that you just can't figure out. Give them a call and they will try and be your mentor or your problem solver as much as they can, and they will tell you the next steps that you should take. So with that being said, guys, yes, having bad guests is bound to happen in any business, but especially in Airbnb where hospitality is the biggest complaint, those will arise. And there are going to be customers out there or guests out there who book your place and there's nothing wrong with your place, and yet they come after you for an issue and want a refund as their end goal. So knowing that, yes, it can get a little tiresome, and sometimes people hire property managers like me to deal with these guests. But at the end of the day, you have to understand what business you're getting into. Hospitality and customer service business are going to be your hardest because you are dealing with people, and people have emotions that are very hard to judge. So making sure that you know how to deal with guests, and at the end of the day, if you don't, call Airbnb Support. They're here for you 24/7 to make sure that your stay with your guest and you making sure that you as a host gets done correctly. That way there is no problem for the future and you know exactly what has happened. So with that being said, guys, those are your 5 ways to deal with bad guests. 1, outline house rules. Those are going to be your biggest ones. Make sure you put in your descriptions. Make sure you give it to them as a check-in instruction to make sure they know their house rules. Number 2, if something has arisen, make sure you address it quickly and tell them you are working as soon as possible, and giving them a phone call as soon as possible is a great way to resolve couple issues down the road. Number 3, be a problem solver. This is going to be for anything as a worker or as an employee, as an investor. Be a problem solver. See what you can do to make a better stay for your guests. Number 4, never judge or blame your guests for everything that has happened. There are going to be wrongs that you have made, so make sure you never blame or judge your guests, because that's not the right way you should run your business. Number 5, if everything fails, make sure you call Airbnb Support, because you also do get covered by Airbnb Air Cover, which is, I believe, $2 million in reimbursement for you and your host, you and your guests. So make sure you call Airbnb Support for all other issues that you have no clue on what's going on. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys had a very informative video about how to deal with bad guests, and maybe for your future if you do have a bad guest. If you did, make sure you guys like and subscribe to this video, and if you are interested, Aura will be in the description box down below. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.